Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Maybe you've read about struggle meals. What are the meals that you could put together with hardly any money, any food, if you're struggling and you're really looking for something to eat? Someone told me years ago their struggle meal was sleep seasoned with their own tears. Can you imagine ever having that to be the struggle meal that you can provide for your family? Can you imagine not having anything to eat or the money to buy more food? We have become so complacent, so many of us, because food has been so available, bountiful. You can drive down any street and you can see fast food places, big grocery stores, supermarkets. It's been so convenient to just pull up. You don't even have to get out of your car, swipe your credit card, drive away with some food in a bag, and not even think about how you're going to pay for it or what you're going to do for your next meal. Much of our society has become complacent about having enough food to eat, and they just are filling their needs, immediate needs, instead of thinking about down the road, what can we do? How can we take that $20 we spent at a fast food restaurant and turn it into several meals that we could provide when times could become harder, or just when those credit card bills come in? What if you reach the limit on your credit card? What are you going to do then? Something like 68% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. They're in deep credit card debt. They have all kinds of car loans, all kinds of bills, and they don't exactly know how they're going to pay for it in the future. So if you are in debt, please pay down your debts, scrimp and save, put some money aside, and one of those things is to stockpile some food so that you have some struggle meals in your pantry. Having the ability to have a few struggle meals already in your pantry can go a long way to comforting you and helping you get through the struggle. Then it won't be so hard because you will have enough to eat. Here are a few struggle meal ideas that you can put together with simple foods, starting with some macaroni and cheese. Yes, you can buy the generic and save a little bit of money, but I'm a big fan of Kraft mac and cheese. That's a splurge I'm willing to give to myself. So whether you're doing a pantry challenge or you're shopping strategically, think about the foods that you have in your prepper pantry and how can they go together to make a meal. Don't just buy random foods, and don't buy foods you don't like. Stock up on foods that you're willing to eat and you know how they can go together, and then it's going to be far more useful if you look into your pantry and you know how to use those foods together. Another strategy you can do is put some of those foods together in a Ziploc bag. You stack them in there together, they're ready, the ingredients are all there. You can even slip in the recipe if you need to, but a lot of times they're just so simple. You just open them, combine them, and then dinner can be on the table in just a matter of a few minutes. So what are some meal ideas that I put together with some macaroni and cheese? Let's look them over. Something to know about macaroni and cheese is even if you don't have the milk and butter that you need to have to prepare it, I've made it many times without the milk and the butter, and it was still perfectly fine, tasty to eat. You also need to realize that you shouldn't store it for long term in a cardboard box because critters can chew on it, it can get infested, things can get spilled on it, and if you want it to last the longest, what I do, so I take a cup, place the bag inside of it, and then it's ready to pour in the macaroni. Now take the sauce pack, slide it in, and squeeze the air out, seal it up, and it's ready to go into the jar. If you lay the jar on the side, it goes in nicely. And I've already got the directions. Store several of them into a clean canning jar. It keeps it airtight and then nothing can chew on the glass. Also realize that the macaroni can last nearly forever. It would be the cheese pouch that goes out of date and is expired and isn't good anymore. I made a few videos about expired mac and cheese. Usually it's perfectly fine, but sometimes the cheese packet becomes rancid and you need to throw it away. But you still have the macaroni if you've stored it airtight. and the macaroni itself can last for decades. The foods I have here are basic, they're inexpensive, they're long-lasting, they're foods that you can stock up a little at a time, and here are some meal ideas on how to use macaroni and cheese. The first recipe is for King Ranch Chicken Mac and Cheese. You need the macaroni and cheese, a can of chicken, a can of Rotel, chili powder, and cumin. If you wanted this as a bigger meal, you would use 2 boxes of macaroni and cheese, a large can of chicken, 1 can of Rotel, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. So you cook the macaroni and cheese, then you add the chicken, add in the diced tomatoes, and if you're putting it away in your pantry as a shelf meal and you want to put it all in a bag together, you can add your spices right into a little container and have that all set together so it's ready to go. You can grab it off the shelf and cook your meal. If you wanted this as a smaller meal, you could use 1 box of mac and cheese, a small can of chicken, but then just use half a can of the Rotel, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. Prepare the mac and cheese, stir in the chicken, stir in the half a can of Rotel, the 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, the 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and your King Ranch Chicken Mac and Cheese is ready. Here's an easy south of the border mac and cheese. You need 1 box of mac and cheese, 1 can of black beans that you would drain and rinse, and 1/2 cup of salsa. So you would prepare your mac and cheese, then stir in your black beans, stir in the salsa, and your south of the border mac and cheese is ready. Let's not forget just basic chili mac. Macaroni and cheese and a can of chili. Any brand will do. Prepare your mac and cheese, stir in the chili, heat it all through. Yum. Chili mac. How about mac and cheese, a can of tuna, and some peas? I would prefer frozen peas, but I also have some dehydrated peas here. I'm not a fan of canned peas. I think they're a little too squishy. So you would prepare your mac and cheese, drain and add your tuna, add your peas, heat it all through, and you've got some mac and cheese with tuna. So whether you're doing a pantry challenge or you're shopping strategically, think about the foods that you have in your prepper pantry and how can they go together to make a meal. Don't just buy random foods, and don't buy foods you don't like. Stock up on foods that you're willing to eat and you know how they can go together, and then it's going to be far more useful if you look into your pantry and you know how to use those foods together. Another strategy you can do is put some of those foods together in a Ziploc bag. You stack them in there together, they're ready, the ingredients are all there. You can even slip in the recipe if you need to, but a lot of times they're just so simple. You just open them, combine them, and then dinner can be on the table in just a matter of a few minutes. Put together some meals in a bag, some pantry meals, shelf meals. Have extra food on hand. You don't want the sensation of struggle meals to come to your family if you can avoid it at all. Yes, it's okay to have some inexpensive, maybe not the best tasting meals in the world, but you at least have something to eat. You don't ever want to be the one that your struggle meal is sleep, seasoned with your own tears. Please don't let that be your future. Stock up on food now while it's readily available. If you have other ideas of easy meals we could put together, leave it in the comments so we can share those ideas with each other and learn how to have variety in the foods that we store, and then we'll have more enjoyable future going forward. I hope you'll like my video, share my video with someone else you think might enjoy it, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.